Hello, everyone. Jak Syn here on behalf of Fiend.com and Future Daze, and today is another exciting episode of Artist Interviews. Today, I am sitting with Dali and Kelvin of Hoffen. How are you two doing today?
Hi, thank you so much for your invitation. We are very fine. We are very happy to be here with you.
Yeah, we're excited to be here and really happy to answer some questions.
Well, I'm excited to have you both on the show. I'm excited to talk about your music and talk about all the amazing things you guys are doing out there. And with everything going on right now in the world, it's just great that we can kind of sit down, enjoy the nice weather outside, and just have a beautiful conversation. Am I right?
Of course. Yeah, and thankfully, this global thing happens in this year because now we can do these kind of things because of technology. I can imagine if this happens like 10 years ago, we couldn't do things like this. So it is a good thing.
Exactly. Or we'd have to like type it all out in chat rooms or something like that.
Yeah, of course.
Come on, 10 years ago, we have digital cameras and web chats and all sorts of stuff. I mean, it's not a new thing. If you said 20 years ago, 30 years ago, maybe we can do correspondence interviews or something.
Yeah, my mistake.
Think about it. Like thinking about it, like we go 10 years ago. It's like technology has progressed so much in the past decade. So it's like when I think about it, I kind of go, everything's so fast now. So it's like I think like 10 years ago we'd be like talking and be like really, you're just like, can you? I can't get. Can you?
Yeah.
Exactly.
That's what I mean.
Yeah. So today we're going to ask you guys a couple of questions and see where it goes from here. Are you ready to get into it?
Of course.
Yes.
What are three of your most memorable moments from your musical career together?
I think the first memorable moment in our career, it must be when Jak Cold Records just reached to us to sign to become to our label. So by those days we don't have a label. We don't have any label. So this make us very happy because they start to release our music in a physical format.
They came to us, try to reach us and help us get out our first album, and in a physical format. They produced the vinyl, the LP, and it was really something unexpected at the moment because we were trying to find a way to put out our music in a physical format. We always wanted to do that, not just in digital platforms. We wanted to have a physical record, so they help us with that.
Yeah, you wanted to have something real and tangible in your hands, something you could touch and put on the wall and say, hey, I did that. I created that. I poured my blood, sweat, and tears into that album. And you can pull it off anytime you want and look at it and go, this is a culmination of my hard work for the world to enjoy. I mean, that's just great.
Of course. And this is a good moment to say the second memorable moment in our career, and it definitely have to be when we release by our own the CD format of Cultures of an Angel. As I said, we don't have any label but those days, and we just have to pay to release our album. And it was the first version of a physical version of our music, and yeah, of course, it was our sweat and our blood on it. So I think that was a good moment in our career, the release of our CD version.
Well, maybe the third moment that just happened to us actually, and it was a huge one because a tiny record label known as Cleopatra Records just reached out to us, and they wanted us to be part of that label. So that was huge. I mean, that's something that we haven't even dreamed about. But Dali actually has a funny story because the moment that he get the call was he was with a friend. Was why don't you tell about that story?
I was with a friend called Werner Karlov, another musician that we admire so much. He's from Mexico too. He's our label partner in Young and Cold Records. So we were talking about how to making a plan to be on the game as a band. So every day, thousands of bands are created. So the people forget very, very soon about you as a musician or as a band. So we were making a plan about how to be on the game or how to be stealing on the game. And so when I received that call, it was kind of funny because it has to be a lot of what we were talking about that day.
And that's great, you know, like being able to be contacted by Cleopatra Records, you know, them wanting to showcase your music to the world. I mean, that's awesome. I'm sure you guys were having that moment where you kind of go like, are you serious? Did this really happen? Is this happening right now? I'm sure you guys had that moment, right?
Yeah, it was a crazy thing.
But you know, I've been listening to your guys' music, and your most recent release that you guys put out, and I gotta say, it's some really great stuff. I thoroughly enjoyed it. I think it's got some great sounds. I mean, you guys are really touching on that like haunting dark, you know, that really like in your face, beautiful sound that, you know, we've come to, as a society, come to enjoy, you know, the minimal aspect of the new age of, I guess you could say, dark music or goth music in a way.
Well, working on that record, it was a lot of fun. I mean, we were trying to experiment with new sounds and trying to do new things. Well, new in a some regard, because there's nothing really new, you know. But we were trying to experiment with some new sounds and trying to expand, but staying right in the roots of what make the band in the first place. You know, the sound that make this band so original.
Yeah, you know, and that's what it is. It's like you're sticking within the boundaries of your formula, but you are also experimenting with new sounds and new ways to put your music out. I think as artists, it's very important that we experiment with new sounds, that we continue to branch out and showcase what we can do differently here and there. I think expanding on what has came before is always great for everybody out there. And I think it continues to propel and drive you forward as you move into the future as artists.
Yeah, of course. I want to ask you something. What song is your favorite about the Hoffen?
So from what I was listening to, I really enjoyed Fragile. I like that one.
Oh.
That one was really, really good.
It's a Kelvin favorite song.
I fought so hard to get that song on the record. You wouldn't believe it.
I'm sure, you know, but it's a great song. I enjoyed it. You know what I mean? I thought it was great. I thought it had some really great sounds, a lot of great experimentation on it. Yeah. It was some good stuff.
But the problem with the song was it was so different for what we were making that it was we weren't sure if it was going to fit in the album. But I tell Dali that song had to be on the album because it was so good. I mean, it has a lot of good things in it.
It really does, and it does touch on some really great sounds in that song. I mean, your entire album, Blinded, it's a good album. You know, from all of the tracks that are included in there. I mean, you guys have got some really standout ones, but to everybody out there, if you haven't checked out Blinded by Hoffen, be sure to go and check it out. Where can they find the album?
You can find it on Spotify and iTunes, and I think it's on YouTube too. It's everywhere, actually.
So, yeah, everybody out there, check out Blinded by Hoffen. It's available everywhere. And I think when you guys listen to it from start to finish, because it really takes you on a journey of sound and experimentation. That's just really great to listen to.
Thank you so much. And actually, the vinyl version will be released will be released in this winter, by Young and Cold Records in Germany.
Oh, really? Okay, so they can get that there in vinyl release. That's awesome.
Vinyl and CD version, yeah.
Vinyl and CD version. So everybody out there, get yourself a copy of that when that comes out. What would you say is your favorite album / EP that you guys have worked on?
I think we have two answers. My answer and the one from Kelvin. My favorite album obviously has to be Cultures of an Angel, because it has all my coldwave influences printed on it. I think it is Cultures of an Angel.
Well, for me, it was Blinded. It was a lot of fun working on it. It was really like Cultures of an Angel was a great album, but we really tried to put our best in Blinded, because it was better in composition, better recorded, better produced. I mean, actually, it was faster to work on that album. We really have like 1 month of it, the entirety of recording and production and mastering and everything. It was actually really fast, but it was a lot of fun. Cultures of an Angel was good, but Blinded, I think it's better.
Well, you know what? There you hear it, everybody. Two different answers. But what I get from your guys' releases, is that you see a progression in the sound from your original release. You know, it's like transitioning into the newest release, Blinded. You see definitely a transition of sound, and you guys stick with that. You know, that cold wave format. That cold wave format that like is unique to your guys' sound, but also, like we were talking about before with experimentation, you can see that you experiment even more and kind of branch out and kind of go into different little areas, which is always really, really great.
Of course. And actually, we use a lot of synthesizers on that album. In Cultures of an Angel, when we were when we were making the recording of that album, I don't have any of these monsters. But in Blinded, actually, I used a lot of synthesizers, and Kelvin was very mad because he don't like synthesizers. And it's very funny because Blinded, the album that has a lot of synthesizers, is his favorite. I don't know why.
Well, those are some pretty impressive synthesizers, I'll tell you that.
Thank you so much.
The recording process was a bit easier for me, because Dali just went crazy and tracked like 100 different synthesizers and crazy sounds, and I just put it on one single track, just compress it, you know, and put it in one track, and that's it. So it was really easy. But I love the sound. I mean, it's kind of fresh, even though the synthesizers that he used were all about like big in the 80s and all that, but the sound was actually really fresh. Yeah. I really liked the sounds that he was making with them.
Well, they were fresh and they were dynamic too. I mean, even though you're using retro sounds, which I'm a huge fan of, I love retro sounds. You know, anything from an old Casio keyboard or an old Korg or, you know, Juno 6, I'm all about. You know what I mean? I love that kind of stuff. But it's funny how, like, as we're progressing as artists, like a lot of newer artists today are diving back into those old styles and back into those retro styles of the 80s and the early 90s, because those had some really great sounds that now when you explore them, you can really do even more than you could back in those days.
Yeah, and actually we were very influenced by the 80s music, bands like OMD, Human League, Gary Newman, Ultravox, obviously. And I mean, about the synthesizers bands, but about the post-punk bands, I think my biggest influence are Asylum Party. Asylum Party is my favorite band. Even I have a lot of influences in the Cultures of an Angel album, because they are my heroes and I love them.
Well, actually, that's kind of funny, because what makes I think what makes Hoffen interesting and special, maybe different, is that the influences are really, really different in this case, because Dali, it's all about the cold wave movement and the, I don't know, synth wave and all that, post punk. But I'm I'm actually more of a rock guy, you know. Like I like pop music, so that helps us, because when he brought the idea of the, well, he brought the demos, we could work it in a new, with a new vision. If, in a way, you can say that I helped him, well, try to modernize the sound,
Yeah.
maybe.
Exactly. I mean, it's funny because, if you're a solo artist, you only have yourself to talk, you only have yourself to talk to, and some of your friends around you who you can bounce ideas off of. But when you're working in a band or a group, together, you have other people to bounce those ideas off of. And where you may think one way, somebody else may think another way. And it's like, you're like, oh, well, I think this sounds good. Well, I don't think this sounds as great. Or maybe if you add this, you're like, oh, well, I didn't even think of that. So it's good that you have that dynamic where you can kind of bounce these ideas off of each other, and it really feeds your creativity.
Of course, and it was very easy to work with Kelvin because we were playing by 13 years, I think. We're friends. We're friends since I don't know, like 2008.
I think, yes.
Yeah. So we always play together. So the communication or the connection, the musical connection is very easy. We always work together, so we are like brothers.
Yeah. So you guys can finish each other's sentences. You know what each other is thinking, right?
Yeah, of course.
What was the drive behind getting you into playing music and performing live together?
Okay. It must have to be our friendship.
When Hoffen started, we were living in the same house, so it was, I mean, kind of natural that he was making the music, I was listening to it, and well, we decided that we should do a band together and try to play those new songs, you know.
At the beginning of the band, Kelvin just hated this kind of music. He didn't listen to this kind of music, but when I finished the Cultures of an Angel album, and I just realized that I don't have a band to play on the live act, I just asked to Kelvin, hey, Kelvin, do you want to join to the band? It was very funny because I knew that Kelvin just hates this kind of music because he's a rocker guy. But that was at the beginning. In those days, by now, today, Kelvin loved this kind of music too.
So you kind of had to push him a little bit, push him into
it is my fault. It is my fault, though.
I really didn't have a choice, you know.
Yeah, he don't have a choice. I just made this blackmail to him to be on the band.
Blackmail. Now, you know what? That's great. That's a great. That's great that you shared that with us, because, I think as creative people, if you get along and you're both creative, you can really do some amazing things if you work together. I think that, in being in a band dynamic, it really kind of helps you bounce ideas of creativity off each other where you guys are coming from two different areas. I know for me personally, back years ago when I was in bands, we always had that dynamic where it was like you would look over at your bandmates and they would look at you, and you just kind of already knew. You kind of knew what you were going to do. You didn't really, sometimes you would talk it out, and sometimes you would have arguments, because as you know, every band does, every group does have arguments here and there. But you always knew at the end of the day, whenever you were playing live or when you were working as a group, like you would always look over at the other person and you kind of knew. And they all knew that, hey, they had a job to get done. They knew what was going to happen next, and they could always work really well together.
Yeah, I mean, after so many years playing with him, it was really easy. It's natural for us to play together now. So I mean, we really enjoyed it, and we have a lot of fun doing it. So why don't we do it in this band also? I mean, trying to do something. At least for me, it was hard because it wasn't my scene, but I really tried it and enjoyed it and liked it, and now, I mean, I'm happy.
Yeah, and that's the important thing, getting out and doing something different, like experiencing something different. That's the beauty of life. It's like if we want to make exciting lives, like sometimes we just have to get out and do some things that we're not really used to, and then we come to find that we actually do enjoy it.
Yeah, we have no choice. We just need to enjoy this.
Exactly. What are you both looking forward to the most moving forward?
I think we really dream about making these tours around the world and releasing a lot of albums and having fun on the way, destroying things and I don't know.
Trashing a hotel room,
Yeah.
all the basics.
All the basic things, because we are rocker guys.
Yes. We can deny our roots, We want to trash a hotel room, and I don't know, a lot of things that maybe we cannot say in this interview, but
Well, that's great. I mean, looking forward to spreading your music to the world, getting it to as many ears as possible. That's important, that's important for driving people forward and driving musicians forward. And I think also too, like branching out, experimenting with new sounds, but also just really pushing your creativity to the limit, because that's what's important.
Of course. And actually we are working now in our third album called Proteos. And I'm making this mix of country music and coldwave music and minimal music. It's a crazy thing, but it works very, very, very great.
Well, I'm looking forward to hearing that. I'm looking forward to hearing that as soon as it comes out. Do you guys kind of know when it's going to be coming out soon?
Yeah, I think it will be released in this winter, but just in digital, because in the winter we will have the release of Blinded in the physical formats, but I will release Proteos and a digital format.
That's great, because you're going to get back to back. You're going to get a digital release, and you also get something on vinyl, and like something you can hold in your hand too for Blinded. So that's going to be great.
Of
So I think it's going to
course.
work out really well for you guys.
And actually, we are working in a cover version of many songs about but I just post on Facebook, "Hi guys, which song do you want to hear performed by Hoffen?" About covers. And the people was like, "I want to hear a Depeche Mode or The Cure and things like that, Trisome 21." And I made this, I don't know how to say it in English, but in Spanish it's like a tombola.
a raffle.
Okay. And I was just putting out the songs, and I just finished 3 of those covers: Kraftwerk, Metropolis, and Depeche Mode, Policy of Truth, and Shocking Blue, Demon Lover. And it was very successful thing, because it works to turn on the creativity of a band, like as you said, putting our creativity to our limits, but it works very, very good.
No, it's exercising your creativity. It's showing that you have range and that you can explore new areas. And I think that's great that you put out a poll, if you will, for people to kind of like give their what they would love to hear. And that's always good when you can do that and you can connect with the fans and you kind of get their feedback on what they would want to hear.
Of course, and we are very happy to making these covers. We just have a lot of covers pendant, but we will be releasing it.
Well, I look forward to hearing that, and I know a lot of people out there are looking forward to hearing that too. So everybody out there, be sure to keep your ear to the ground, because when these things drop, they're going to be amazing.
Oh, thank you. We hope so.
what positive message would you give your fans out there?
We would like to say to the fans and everybody listening to this that you have to be patient and stay safe. And, you know, this horrible thing that's happening to us, it's not going to last forever. So you have to keep a positive mind and just use your time to do something. I mean, we released these albums working from our home, you know, from our houses. It's not hard to do it now. We have the technology. You can experiment, do music, do I don't know, drawings or paintings or whatever, and try to stay positive.
I would like to tell to all the people, especially to the guys who are starting a band, that it's gonna be difficult. There's a lot of bands out there, but you don't have to give up. You have to follow your dreams, and this message is even by all the people, not only the musicians. Follow your dreams and do whatever you wanna do. Destroy things on the way, always having respect by the others, of course. But never give up.
Our own things.
Be strong and do the things. If you don't do the things, you will not know what's going to happen. You know, you have to do it and like, you don't care about all the people say, just do it. You will be happy.
Exactly. You will be happy. To everybody out there, wise words right here from Dali and Kelvin. All you have to do is get out there and do it. Share what you have with the world. And if you're working with other people and you're starting a band, sometimes it's going to be a rocky road. Things will happen. You know, you will get into arguments. Everything, you know, it's not going to be rosy all the time, but it's always going to be great because you get to explore new avenues, you get to explore new sounds, you get to work with amazing people, and you get to push your creativity forward. To everybody out there, if you are a musician, push your creativity to the limit. Push it as far as it can go. Always explore, always experiment, and break out of the mold, because some of the greatest things that we have and that we've ever created have been because of people who have broken out of the box. And that right there is what's important. So thank you so much, Dali and Kelvin, for taking this time to sit down and this interview today. Thank you to everybody who tuned in to watch us have this conversation. If you like this interview, be sure to like and subscribe to our Tour Fiend YouTube channel, as we have many more awesome artist interviews on the way, just like this one with Hoffen. So to everybody out there, thank you so much. Thank you guys, and I look forward to seeing you again soon.
Thank you so much. We are very happy to. I'm very grateful because you made this invitation to us. It means a lot to us.
Thank you, and stay tuned for more awesome interviews.